Hi, everybody. Happy July. I can't even believe it's July. My name is Caroline Foe, and I have the pleasure to serve as your Director of Professional Development for Keller Williams Luxury. And Brady Sandals offers us warm welcomes, and he is looking to seeing the Luxury Pro members in Atlanta on Wednesday, July 19th for our exclusive National Speaker Series. So as community leaders, Brady and I are talking every day, and we're always looking to bring in interesting topics and guests to help you grow and expand your businesses and ideas to best serve your clients through our speaker series, classes, and these unique interviews. And we are now halfway through the year, and you certainly don't want to take your foot off the pedal. And we want to help you finish the year strong. And so today we have two very special guests with us whom we believe could help you do just that, especially if you're in the second home or vacation home markets, or if your clients are looking to purchase a vacation home, but maybe just short of the capital needed to do so. So why are these guests so special? Because not only are they dear friends, they are two of our very own KW Luxury Pro members, Dean Otto and Noah Kirschbaum, and they are the founders of Cohana Homes. It's a very clever name with a clever spelling. And I'm just so excited to share what they have created with all of you. In our time together today, we're going to dive into what Cohana Home is and how this platform will help your sellers, your buyers, and you. So aloha, my friends, hello. Before we dive in, Dean and Noah, please share a little bit about yourselves. Dean, would you like to start?
Sure. Thanks for having us, Caroline. We're super excited to be here. This is a really great day for us. My name is Dean Otto, and I'm living in Maui for the last 32 years. I'm from South Africa originally, so this is not a Maui accent. And I'm thrilled to be here. I mean, I've been with Keller Williams for 7 years. I started immediately out in the luxury division, and that pretty much has been my space to operate. I'm a luxury agent on the west coast of Maui. So we started this business about a year ago, Noah and I, both co-founders, and it's been a great run, man. We're super excited about it, and we're really thrilled to be connected with the Keller Williams Luxury Division, which will be the space that we'll be able to operate, and we look forward to working with you all.
We're so excited to partner with you. Noah?
Yeah, hey everybody, I'm Noah Kirschbaum. The only thing I didn't obsessively practice was my own bio, so this is just off the top of my head. I'm originally from Los Angeles. I now live in Lake Oswego, Oregon. And how I met Dean was I build homes, and I built a spec home in Maui, and Dean was my agent. And this idea of co-ownership came to me through Dean when the world was shut down for COVID. And so for 10 months, every day, Dean and I just talked about co-ownership as it pertained to the home I built. And when the island opened up, we started really talking about doing this as an idea and spent a year talking about it. And then about a year ago, as Dean said, we went for it, and here we are. And I'm really excited and honored to be a part of this. Thank you.
It's an incredible collaboration, and I can't wait to share this with everyone. All right, so let's just dig in right into it. So Dean, you saw a gap or a challenge in the market, as Noah was saying, and decided to come up with a solution that benefits both our clients and our agents, especially in the second home or vacation home or rental market. So what were the challenges you saw and discussed amongst each other in those markets, and how can Cohana help solve those problems?
Sure, thank you. So I've been in the second home market, this vacation home market on Maui for 30 years, as I mentioned. So I'm very familiar with the ups and downs of second home markets. And, they can be difficult at times, right? So second home markets, we always struggle with the fact that people don't live there permanently. And can they make sense out of owning a property just for a short period of time and letting it be vacant for the rest of the year? That's sort of always been the number one challenge with the resort property. That hasn't changed. It's always been there. What has changed, though, is that there's been this major shutdown and clampdown on the vacation rentability of these second home communities. And we see that as a major challenge for our industry. Most people in Maui, Lake Tahoe, Napa, a lot of these second-home communities are owned by people who don't live in those communities, right? So we've had this challenge of, we've all been facing the constraints of less vacation renting, and we're all now looking for solutions of how do we deal with the fact that we have these areas that have owners that only are in these homes for 2-3 months a year, and can't vacation rent them. What do we do? That is a significant challenge for the second home market. And for most of us in second home markets right now, our sales are down about 50%. Obviously, that has something to do with inventory, but you can feel the definite shift as COVID is passing and everything's sort of settling back to a little bit more the way it was. So, for us, the challenge is lack of use, that it doesn't make sense. And then the second challenge to compound that is the shutdown on vacation rentability. I know that Palm Springs just went through a change, right? So that's one of the most highly concentrated vacation rental markets. And they just went from, being able to vacation rent to 60-day minimum. So what do those people do, right? So we thought about this for a long time, and I've been dealing with this for a long time as I've been living in this world. And I think that's what we realized is that there's a real opportunity with the sharing arrangement rather than owning a property and vacation renting it. So what we do is we specialize in exclusive partnerships in private residences and second homes, right? So what we're doing is we're out there putting these exclusive partnerships together for people to be able to share in the usage and share in the expenses, right? That's problem number one. You're not paying all those bills when you're not there. And then, number two, what the sharing arrangement does is it lowers the price entry point, right? So for a buyer who's looking at these, $10 million homes or whatever, and hasn't been able to spend the money or already make sense out of owning a property that's $10 million where you don't live in it. And all of a sudden, we're lowering the price points to say, we could sell a 1/5 interest in this property for $2 million, and you get, 2 months use versus owning the entire property, paying the $10 million, paying all the expenses, and the home sits vacant for 10 months. So ultimately, those are the major challenges with this market. It just doesn't make sense to most people. And so what we're trying to do is to try to make sense out of this for a lot of people and give them an opportunity by being creative to draw those people back into the market. So and we have quite a bit of inventory on Maui, just building this company. We'll be able to showcase some of it, but, it's become an interesting option. People thinking I can just go own this property with 2 or 3 other co-owners and share in the use. And what we do it's unique is that when we put a exclusive partnership together, we set the exit sale date so that what we don't do is we don't do fractional, we don't do timeshare, we don't resell partial interest. So if you're going to ask me how we're different than Picasso, for example,
Next question.
One of the big differences for us is that we don't break the ownership up into pieces and then subsequently try to resell those partial interests in LLCs, or we don't fractionalize the product and then leave it up to the owners to go figure out how to sell those fractions in the future. In our worlds, fractional has not had great success. And once we've realized that once you carve that asset up into pieces, there's a major devaluation of the asset. And so what we do is we put a private partnership together with a set exit date so that the partnership will sell the property as one owner in an LLC in the future in the regular real estate market, just like any other real estate. So we're selling real estate just like any other real estate. The only difference what we're doing is we're putting these partnerships together of 2, 3, or 4 people. They co-own the property for a set period, like 8 years is typical. And then the property sells in 8 years and everyone gets their money back, or they can reinvest, or they can buy each other out or whatever. Does that make sense?
It does. And I know people are probably thinking when we first talked is, oh my gosh, how do you do this? Are you with them the entire journey? And I can't wait for you to share how you do this. You actually have an entire system.
We have an 8-year program.
The whole program to guide them through the entire process.
Right. And what we do with the agents that we work with, we partner with the agents, so what we do is if you had a listing in Aspen, for example, we would be able to work with that agent to sell that property through this co-ownership option. And we typically run it as a parallel to their efforts to sell it to a single buyer. So it's not either or. And it's not reselling of fractions or partial interest. It's just like regular real estate, like we do every day. And that's what's popular about our concept, is that we're selling regular real estate. We're not selling fractional, we're not selling timeshare. And we're not doing what Picasso does, which is, they basically will buy a property, raise the price 12%, and then split it out 8 ways. First of all, we don't raise the prices. We want to hold true to the value because we want to be an organization that attracts profit-oriented buyers. So we can't charge premiums necessarily. We want those people to make money. And that's really the bottom line of our business is we put the partnership together in a fashion which creates an opportunity to actually be a part of the regular real estate money and enjoy the upside or downside that the regular real estate market comes with.
That's really smart. So from a client perspective, let's talk about the benefits for the sellers and buyers. And so would you please share what benefits Cohana may offer a seller, Noah?
Yeah, so, and we can use a real life example right now. I see Richard Gutierrez is on the call, and he's our partner right now working on a listing in Palm Springs. And so for that particular seller, and just like what Dean was saying, we're offering that seller an out-of-the-box approach to selling their home in a slightly down market. And so while Richard has the listing on the MLS and is marketing it, we're doing that in tandem on our website, on our social media sites. So we are double marketing for the seller. So the benefit, a great benefit to the seller is their agent is doing their work, and then Cohana is also doing our work. So that's a great benefit for the seller. The second is we allow the seller to sell the portion of the home that they are not using. Generally, typically a seller, an owner will use their vacation home 2 to 3 months a year. And so we are offering the chance to sell the equity in the home and sell the unused time to partners that would be managed by Cohana Home. So when Cohana brings together 2 to 4 owners, let's say it's a 4 ownership person, a home, and a seller is going to stay on, we would bring together 3 other owners. We help form the LLC. We put all the paperwork together. We hire the lawyers. We deal with all the stuff. So it's all hassle-free for the seller. So the seller, nothing changes for the seller. It's just they keep their time and we help sell the rest of the time. And also they receive the equity and they can use that equity in other ways. And right now, potentially it's locked up in a home that they are not using for 9 months a year. And so there's a great financial benefit theoretically to a seller who wants to work with Cohana. And the other part of it is that, they don't have to stay on as an owner. They can sell the home, and they can, again, have a real estate agent with KW, put the house on the market, do all the stuff that a regular luxury agent would do, and then Cohana in tandem helps market that home for them. So quite a few benefits to the seller.
So one thing to add to that too, Carolyn, if you think about it, I have a client right now is going to be entering into the program, and he wants to sell 3 other shares and remain on as the 4th. And what he's saying is that he could sell 3/4 of his home. He'll actually get more than his investment back from the 3/4 of the sale. So you get all his money back plus some, and he'll still have the 2-3 months use that he always had. And he's now sharing in the expenses with 3 other people for 8 years, and then it sells, and then he gets that final portion back. So it's really kind of an interesting way the timing is good right now because the pricing is pretty high. So you can actually pull out a really good amount of your money, still enjoy your property just like you are. So yeah, absolutely.
That's really smart. And I see your questions in chat, and I have some private questions as well. And we'll have a Q&A at the end. All right.
Sure.
Okay, so we talked about the seller. I mean, you're just offering options, especially a home that's maybe in a vacation home rental that may have seen some deflation or some pressure on it. You're just offering other solutions. I think it's brilliant. So
I'll add one more thing. We have a seller right now in Kapalua, and they're building a home, and they got a little bit out of whack on their budget, and so they came to us and said, "Could you help us figure out a way that we can keep the costs down and still keep a portion of the home?" And so we, are putting an out-of-the-box approach together to help them finish their construction and take on partners and keep it hassle-free. So, we're out there really trying to help sellers figure out a solution to, ways to keep their home and keep the expenses down.
yeah, and you're the easy button too. Like
Right.
just press Dean and Noah. So how about the buyer side?
Yeah, so the buyer
the
side,
buyer.
we've kind of touched on the buyer side a little bit as well. The obvious benefit for a buyer is that if they're only going to be using a house 2-3 months a year, that they could buy the house for $3 million instead of $12 million, right? So there's an obvious leveraging of your buying power with Cohana because, as I say, I have a $12 million listing now that I'm offering for $3 million interest. We have a $7.5 million oceanfront property on the water in Napili Bay in Maui, which is one of the most amazing locations of all time. It's listed for 7.5 million, but you could actually buy 3 months of that property for 1,875,000. And it would be impossible to buy anything on Maui for 1,875,000. There aren't even homes for sale for 8,875,000. So
Maybe a
to be
condo.
able to take your buying power from not being able to afford Maui to living in the nicest oceanfront home is really the benefit to a buyer, right? It's leveraging your buying power. And then the obvious benefit to a buyer will be you're sharing the expenses, right? So that's a big deal for people. That it's one of the biggest challenges. I see people buying $10 million homes all day long, but really complaining all day about the $500 a month maintenance fee.
Right.
You know, so it's the nature of our buyer, and it's because it's sitting there unused, right? So you're sharing the expenses and you're sharing the usage, and we have a system of rotating through, and so everyone gets a fair share at the selection. But ultimately, the benefits are obvious for a buyer. You can buy an oceanfront. You can buy a $7.5 million house for $1,875,000. That's the obvious benefit to that. And again, you have the benefit of the sharing arrangement and the sharing of expenses and usage, but ultimately you'll be selling in the regular whole ownership market to an individual buyer, just like every other property on the market. That's really the key to the deal, and the difference between our program. The uniqueness of our program is that we always have a set exit date. We don't do fractional, we don't do timeshare. We don't want our agents to be reselling partial interest in LLCs, which is what Cohana does, because that's a violation of our licensing requirements. We aren't licensed to sell securities, so we don't touch any of that stuff. This is very simple, and it's just regular real estate like you would do anyway, selling a property with an LLC as the owner. So we have all the LLC legal documents and all, as Noah mentioned.
This is stunning. As we're listening to we're reviewing some of your properties, and
We got some amazing properties, and we've held off on really getting too much inventory because we're mostly interested in being a part of this network and being able to launch into a network of people and agents around the country that we can do this from anywhere if we have boots on the ground and we have solid quality agents around the country that we can help to introduce this concept into their market in a time when inventory is our biggest challenge right now in the market. I mean, that is the challenge for real estate in today, is lack of inventory. And so this is a way to get some unique products into your market. Everyone's hitting up everyone to sell their properties, and it's really hard to get listings right now. But you could go out there as a listing agent and approach your people in your market and go, we're looking for people who don't want to sell, but are only using the house 2-3 months a year and are willing to entertain the idea of co-owners to share in the usage and the expenses.
really creative, and you support in the marketing of that. So if Cohana isn't in a particular area yet, if an agent is interested, they'll contact you, and then you can start the partnership and they can help you build that area, right? Fantastic.
Yeah.
So for, your tagline, when you first said it, I fell in love with it, where R&R meets ROI.
Right.
How did you come up with that, and what does that really mean?
Well, we're very pleased with that one as well. We use it all the time. It perfectly lays out exactly what our model provides. So ROI is, the other difference between us and Papasso, and how we provide the potential for ROI to our clients is we don't break up the home, as Dean mentioned. We don't buy a home, break it up, potentially then sell it again over and over again. We want our owners to potentially make money on their vacation home. So that's where their vacation is the R&R and their profit is the ROI. All right. So when we put together, again, the 2 to 4 people, 2 to 4 owners, we create the LLC. The LLC buys the home whole and then keeps the home whole and then sells the home whole, like regular real estate, which allows them the potential for ROI. And as we know, as anybody that's ever owned a timeshare knows, you lose money every time. Everybody who's ever bought a fractional, very rarely do you make money on that. In certain markets, there's potential for that, but it's really difficult once you break it up. And we want our clients to enjoy their vacation and not worry, their vacation home and not worry about it. and enjoy it. And so our job is to help them figure out how they're going to make that ROI. And so we do that through, having good relationships with agents on the ground, knowing the numbers in the area. And so I saw it flash up earlier about, does it always have to happen where you sell the home after 8 years? Theoretically, no. If we notice that there's a change in the market or something is going on where we think, wow, our clients might not make the ROI they want, we can be mobile as long as there's 100% agreement on that with the partners. But our job is to focus on that so that you as an owner can enjoy your R&R.
Thank you for that. And I see so many of our members from Florida, from also parts of Hawaii, from Southern California, Oregon. And so we talked a little bit about the sellers and the buyers, and you touched on how this can help agents. Can we spend some time and talk about how Cohana can help our agents on the ground and how you support them?
Sure. We already touched on the idea that there's such a low inventory in our market right now, and coming up with new product is going to be a huge benefit for listing agents. What we've found is that sellers will engage in this conversation because they're curious. And so we get a lot of traction reaching out to owners and talking about co-ownership. And even if we don't get the listings on the co-ownership portion, we've built a relationship to the point where I typically will get that listing anyway as a regular listing if they don't buy into the co-ownership. But we've found it's a really great way to draw sellers into a conversation. Sellers are getting calls from everyone about selling right now. So this is like a unique angle. It gives them an opportunity to stay on and keep enjoying their property and still have your property and use it just the way you have been. So yeah, there's an obvious benefit to the listing agent in the sense that you'd be able to go out and create new inventory for your market, right? Which is our biggest challenge right now. I think that we at Cohana, we don't restrict your ability to market and sell your property just like you're doing in any other case, right? So we're parallel, we're in addition to, and if let's just say we're in an agreement to assist you in a partnership arrangement to sell a property, and we're out there doing our thing and we get 1 or 2 co-owners and we're trying to get 4, and then someone wants to come in and buy that property, an individual buyer, we step out and that property sale goes through. We don't get compensated if it's a whole ownership sale. We support you in trying to sell the property. If we can sell it to a co-ownership group before you can sell it to a single buyer, then we luck out and we get paid. But we're not restricting your ability to sell your properties and your listings. We're just adding an additional parallel effort to try to bring new ideas and new buyers into this market. And so far, we've had a really good response to it. The timing is really good. Everyone's looking for solutions. We have, a market that's, sort of all over the place. And our biggest challenge is lack of inventory. And we have a way to create new inventory for agents around the country with this concept.
I love that. I love that. We have a vacation home in Napa, and they are now restricted to 30 days.
Oh,
lack of inventory, and people may want to sell, or maybe they're not using it, but what a great solution for them. And for buyers who are wanting to buy into the area and they haven't had the capital to do so. What a fantastic way. So Noah,
I'll add one more thing on that, because what's happening now in some of these markets is Airbnbs are being theoretically outlawed. I know that's happening in Palm Springs. I was just down there talking to a lot of people in that area. And so for listing agents, this is an opportunity to get in front of all those Airbnb investors who now are not going to be allowed to make the income that they were making. And you can theoretically get in front of them with this idea of how they can keep this home, but take out 25 to 75% of the equity and put that into something where they could maybe make the money they were going to make on their Airbnb. So it's a way for a listing agent to get in front of more people in the community as well.
Absolutely. And for the buyers, for maybe agents on the call today who were very buyer heavy in this market, it's what a benefit to them. Can you share more about that?
Yeah, I mean, so for buyers agents, it's a great way to make multiple commissions on one house. Theoretically. So you can sell 100% of a Cohana home. You can sell 25% of a Cohana home. So it's multiple commissions to buyers agents on one property. And for all of us agents, we would love to figure out a way to make more money in our practice. And this is a great way to do it theoretically. And you can go out into your database and offer your clientele access to luxury properties that they may not be able to afford at a reasonable number. And I saw, Diane is in Park City, and I was out in Park City as well. And it's a great, incredible place, and also the numbers are high on some of these ski in, ski out opportunities, and theoretically it opens it up to more and more people who might be able to access it. And again, it circles back to more commissions for buyers agents.
Fantastic.
Yeah, really, what we're offering is a solution to communities that are not allowed or not being allowed to vacation rent. So they got all these communities across the country. It's everywhere, right? All the neighborhoods, Lake Tahoe the same way, are really getting a little concerned about the change in their lifestyle that's brought on by this vacation rentability, right? So they're taking it away from us, and there's really only one alternative to that person who's vacation renting to pay the bills for that home, and that is to create a sharing arrangement, which is or you sell. So all of a sudden you got in Lake Tahoe, everyone, 80% of the people vacation renting, let's say, now all of a sudden they can't. What is 80% of those people? That means a change in their market, right? That means prices are going down, the demand is down, because your buyers are doing the same thing. And I mean, they want to rent too. So there's really a great need for a solution in these second home markets. And we believe that we have the ideal solution, because it still allows people to enjoy their properties and not force them to sell, right?
Yes.
And to be able to take on some co-owners and still have the opportunity to have it be a true asset with true investment, and be able to get your ROI on the sale in the regular market with everyone else when comes time to sell.
You're creating inventory, and you're helping agents representing buyers build their pipeline in a very creative way.
Exactly right. We're all sitting on these big databases, and everyone tells me how many people in the database, and I always go, that's not good, because that means you haven't sold anything to them. And so for me, it's go back to your inventory and say, yeah, you came to Maui last 10 years in a row and you looked, but you didn't buy anything. Would you consider, and you're looking at $8 million houses, would you consider that house for $2 million? And you'll get a lot of conversations. I mean, you'll draw a lot of people in that way. And we're not necessarily selling to people who can afford $8 million. We're selling to people who can afford $8 million. It doesn't make sense for them to pay $8 million, and this will draw them into the market. So what we're seeing is a lot of cash buyers. We all know there's a ton of cash in the market, and we all know there's a lot of people sitting on the sidelines waiting and watching with all this cash out there. It's our responsibility as agents to be creative and to draw those buyers back into the market. Otherwise, they're going to sit and wait for things to change, and things will change, if they do. So it's on us to be creative in this market, to provide new solutions. And this is a great way, and for second home communities, they're nervous right now, because I know I live in one, about what the future looks like when you take out the vacation rentability of these properties where no one lives. You know what I mean? So it's been well received in all of the markets that are facing these kind of constraints. And I think that it's a great solution for us to generate new product, for you all as agents to have us to lean on for support with this program. We have all the e-blasts, we have all the documents, we have the introduction letters. We can basically provide a toolkit for an agent anywhere in this country to be able to do this. It's a very simple concept, and we have all the tools. We have the toolkit for you, and we're really excited about being a part of Keller Williams Luxury, because this gives us an army of agents out there who are sitting in the same markets and doing the same things that we're doing, and realizing that we all have challenges, especially in the second home markets, and we need new solutions for the new economy.
That's right. And so with all the agents here, I can sense the excitement for this. And, Brady and I are really impressed with all the services that you offer an agent. It isn't, yes, join us, here's some marketing material, you're on your own. Could you share a little bit about what other services Cohana offers in support of the agents?
Sure, I can do that. As we talked about the marketing part, right? So what we do is we support you in your efforts to go out and introduce this concept to your people, right? So that's a big part of what we do. We have drip campaigns, we have co-ownership agreements, postcards, all kinds of stuff. We also provide recommendations on social media and other ways to generate leads for these kinds of deals. We also have all the legal documentation to create the LLCs for your clients. So they're just going to come in and, there's some personalizing of that goes on. I think that's important. But we also provide, a big part of what we do is, once we put the partnership together, form the LLC, acquire the property, we become the manager of the LLC for the entire 8-year period. So we do everything from manage the property specifically. You know, we use boots on the ground management, but we do the overarching management of the property and the program. We handle the reservations. There's a priority shift every year in reservations, so everyone gets a fair share of when they can use it. But we do the entire process, right? So we assist in the sale. We go all the way through the 8 years. We're the consultant for the group. We're the manager for the group. So we kind of do everything really. And it's a way for owners to be able to show up, enjoy their property. We'll pick them up from the airport, drop them off at the house. All of the previous co-owners' belongings will be moved out in storage. Their belongings will be moved in. They can show up with the carry-on. The family photos will be on the mantle, and they can move in and enjoy it, and then check out and off you go, and don't deal with anything. And that's the biggest challenge for second home owners that I know in my market, is the maintenance and the dealing with these homes every year when they come. They spend most of the time when they're on Maui working on the home. So we take all of that away and just give them the enjoyment of it and handle everything for them.
Can you imagine the excitement of your clients when you're presenting this to them and is selling them this lifestyle? You got me at refrigerator stocked and tea times.
Yeah. We're going to be calling you back on that house that you have. You'll set your vacation on. We'll be calling you on that one. But no, I mean, think about it, right? You can make a whole bunch of your money back, maybe all your money back from your investment, and still have your use of it and a part ownership of it. You have the benefit of everything's being taken care of for you. You show up and enjoy it. You know, it's everything is done. It's a one-stop shop for people that want to start to enjoy their second home again, want to maybe pull equity out and go and reinvest it in another property. You know, there's a lot of opportunity there, and right. every seller that we've talked to so far has bought in. I mean, yes. Literally, I haven't had one say no yet. You know,
it's a no-brainer. So, when we're talking about so we're going to get through kind of the format, and then we'll go have Q&A. I know there are a lot of questions in chat. How does the reservation system work? Because I in the past, you know, with multiple users, like people fight for certain times and certain.
No fighting.
Our job is to alleviate that fear. It's a simple, like, fantasy football draft system, theoretically, right? It's first person in would get the first pick, second, third, fourth, and they would pick in that order, then 4, 3, 2, 1, and they would keep rotating on that sort of schedule on that rotation until the year is booked. And then the next year they would switch order. So the second pick would get first, third, second, fourth, third, and first would get fourth. And that rotates every year. So theoretically, everybody gets Christmas, everybody gets the good time, everybody gets the bad time, everybody gets maybe a time that it doesn't exactly work, but everybody gets the chance that it's exactly what they want. And so it ends up being what we think is the most equitable way to do it, which is just rotating. We, you know, if you do get a time that doesn't work, if you do get something that doesn't work for your family, or something, you know, just comes up, we're offering exchange opportunities as well. So if you get a time that is prime and you can't use it and you want to exchange it, or you get a time that doesn't work for you and you want to exchange it, that is also an option as well. So, you know, just a simple rotating system is what we thought was the best way to do it.
And the one thing I'll add to that too is, you know, if you're a one-quarter owner of a co-owner of a property, what we typically do is you get 3 months. The typical scenario, and there's some flexibility here depending on who the people are, is that we'd break the 3 months into 1 month increments. So what Noah was referring to, the first 1 month, priority 1 gets a first pick, 1, 2, 3, 4. And the second 1 month, it goes 4, 3, 2, 1. And then the third 1 month goes 1, 2, 3, 4. Does that make sense? So we do carve it. If someone came to us and said, we want a 3-month block, we would have to pair them up with other people who want to have a 3-month block instead of breaking it up throughout the year. But most people are using the vacation homes 2 to 3 weeks at a time, and they like the idea of scattering those times throughout the year. So that's kind of the way we do it. And then your priority, as I say, your priority selection rotates 1 position every year. So if you get the first pick this year and everyone wants Christmas, you know, eventually you'll get your choice. But with 3 or 4 people in a partnership, it's very rare that we'll have a lot of overlap of time used. There's still a majority of the time unused, right? So there's tons of time. And if it's someone else's time and they're not using it, you want to use it, we handle all that kind of stuff too. And the exchange part is very exciting for us too, because we just formed a partnership with Third Home as well. And that's going to be a big part of this program too, so that if you had a property on Maui for 3 months and you weren't able to use it for one of those months, that theoretically you would be able to put that 1 month into the third home exchange, which would allow you to be able to use one of 15,000 amazing properties around the world if you can't make it to your Maui home for that one portion of the year. It's an amazing program in the sense that
we are
you have
aware.
Maui available to you, and if you can't use it, you have 15,000 world-class homes available to you through third home to be able to leverage your Maui investment into using a property anywhere around the world. And so we'll be sharing more about third home, but that's a great partnership for us in a second home market where people struggle to get enough use of property.
Right.
It's a brilliant relationship that we're excited about.
We are aware that there are some markets where weather is a factor in terms of people wanting to come to that place and visit. I was just in Palm Springs, where in July and August, it's often 120 degrees or something like that. And so maybe you don't want to be there during that time. It's our job to help figure out how, if that's something, a time of the month you want to use, we will help you utilize that time in a different way. That is a service that we will provide to our clients.
Sure. I love it. So when we touched on the community, communities are changing, government regulations are changing, and some people might say, well, our community won't support this because it's kind of seen as, will it be seen as a vacation rental? They don't know how to categorize it. So what is the impact Cohana will have on a community?
Right.
How can
That's a great question. Yeah, that's a great question. We get that question a lot. It's a very sensitive subject, right? Every community is very concerned about the changes in their lifestyle that's brought on by vacation renting and all. So, but what we do is actually, we feel we're actually a great solution for communities as well, right? Because for a few reasons. One is we're selling unused portions of existing homes. Our business does not result in more development of unused homes, right? We're just taking used existing homes and putting people in those spaces. And I think that's important. We're not a timeshare, and we're not a fractional company, and we're not a vacation rental. We don't do vacation rentals. Those are the three biggest issues for communities. We don't do any of them. So that's a real win for us, because we can go into a community and we don't like vacation rental. We don't do any of that. We just do regular real estate, right? So in that sense, communities are fairly receptive to us. We also we get a lot of support from local businesses, because if you were a business owner in Palm Springs right now and 80% of your clientele, those vacation rentals, just got taken out of your world, that'd be a problem for a business, in my opinion. So us putting people into unused homes is a way to mitigate the impact on that, on the businesses in these communities, because we'll actually have people in the homes, right? We don't believe that selling through Cohana will raise prices artificially, which is what a lot of communities are concerned about, right? For Picasso, for example, look, I love Picasso. I think it's a great organization. So I don't mean to say here and pick on them, because they're phenomenal and they've blazed the trail that we're really benefiting from. And they've proven that co-ownership is here to stay. There's some questions about how to operate now that have resulted from all this community resistance. And I think that when Picasso purchased a property, they raised the price 12% before they split it up 8 ways. That 12% increase potentially affects the property taxes in those communities. So people are concerned about that. We don't do that, right? We buy at the best deal we can get for the LLC, and we hold true to that value all the way through the end. And if the property appreciates over time, over the 8 years, we get 15% of the appreciation of that property. So we get paid on the back end, unlike the other companies get paid on the front end, which potentially increases assessed values for taxes and all. That seems to be a concern for a lot of people.
Yes.
Our concept also doesn't put a lot of stress on community infrastructure, right? We're not developing new properties. We're not, we're not tapping into the local resources and infrastructures that people are very concerned about protecting as well too. So, so in many ways we support communities. We're a solution for communities that are facing the challenges like vacation renting and fractional, all those kinds of things. So we've actually been very well supported by people who in communities. The communities are concerned. There's no question about it.
Yes.
Co-ownership is here to stay. There's no question about that either. The only question is, what is the model that's going to work? And it's become about what's the model that's going to be accepted by the communities, really. And because we only sell real estate, we don't do fractional, we don't do vacation, none of the things they're concerned about. And we put people in homes so that businesses can survive. And we don't tax the infrastructure, and it doesn't result in new development of unused homes. So there's nothing, we're fully compliant as an LLC owner of a property. That's very normal. And so we don't see any reason to object to what we're doing. In fact, we expect to be embraced by communities because they're looking for solutions. Like Palm Springs, is looking for solutions right now. What do they do? What are they going to do?
Right. And
we'll have to ask Brady about that.
we'll ping him later. It's and they're owners. They're going to take care of the homes. They're not going to come in while parties, et cetera, et cetera.
And when you look at the vacation,
I will add to that, we are doing 2 to 4 owners on purpose. We have been in communities, and we have heard that 8 owners or 12 owners, depending on the company, feels like it's a bunch of random people showing up in a gated community. And so we want to keep it, luxury focused. We know that some of our luxury clientele want to know who their partner is, and they want to know that it's only one other co-owner. We understand that exclusivity, and we want to make sure that we highlight that, because communities are saying to us, 8 owners is almost too much. Some of them, not every one of them, but many are saying that, and we're sensitive to that.
Yes.
And luxury homeowners, what we found, would much rather share their home with two or three other people than have 50 random strangers coming in and partying in the house.
Yes.
And then your taxes go way up when you're in that investor category.
Yes.
There's a lot of benefits to what we're doing. We're not getting the tax increases of investment properties. It just works for everyone, it seems like.
It does. It's a smart solution. And I have one more question for you, and then we'll open up for Q&A, because I know there's so many. And I just want to share with everybody that you're just not the new kid on the block, and you're just starting. You actually have some really exciting alignment. So can you share with everybody who you're aligned with right now?
Yeah, well, first of all, KW Luxury, that's our favorite alignment. And so far, that's been really wonderful. And specifically, that's how we are working with Richard in Palm Springs, was just through knowing people through KW Luxury, and that's really been wonderful. Third Home is our newest alignment. We just met with them last couple weeks ago, have a great partnership starting with them. And what we're thinking is, as long as it's, again, 100% agreement with our owners, every one of our homes will go into the Third Home network immediately. So immediately you can start to exchange time in the Third Home network. And that's a really amazing company. We're super excited that they were, psyched to partner with us as well. Realm, and Dean can speak more to that. Dean just became a member of Realm, and they're going to build us into their network as a co-ownership option. One of the ones I'm really psyched about, because I want to try to figure out how I can use this from Oregon, is a private airline called Rome, which will allow, there'll be a certain fee tacked on to the ownership costs, but from West Coast cities, you can take private flights to any other city on the West Coast, or specifically Maui, as a part of your membership with us, which is really exciting. So you don't necessarily have to fly commercial every time to come to one of our Cohana homes. And so theoretically, we'd like to build on that with more private airline options. A new one that we're working on is a company called Magnify ROI. And we have, and we're starting to talk to somebody else as well. We are actively doing this ourselves. We are actively out there finding owners, finding inventory. We, just like you, for those of you who want to do this, we're doing this on a daily basis. And so we have a social media and online marketing guru who is helping us, who has helped us put together our toolkit. And it's every day we are using this toolkit, and we are procuring buyers and sellers by doing this. And so we are happy to partner you with these online specialists who can help you build this business, because also these social media and online efforts translate into your regular real estate business as well. It doesn't have to just be for co-ownership.
Love it.
The Rome Maui is pretty cool. This airlines, it's a semi-private airlines. Actually, it's becoming very popular. So you're buying a membership in this Rome Maui, membership program. So as a Cohana home, we can actually charge the group for one membership and split it up 4 ways, which no one else can do. It's like 188,000 is the membership. So it's kind of a lot of money for one person. But when you divide it 4 ways, it actually starts to make, everything makes more sense when you divide the cost by 4, right? So we can actually build that into our program so that if you fly from the East Coast, I saw a comment come up, but what about the East Coast? And then you got to fly from the East Coast to the West Coast, and then you catch your semi-private plane. It's a super luxurious experience. You fly into Maui, we pick you up at the airport, you drop you off at your home, the refrigerator's already stocked, your tea time's already made, and you just get to enjoy this property for 3 months.
I'd be happy to test that for you if you need a tester.
Oh,
We're going to test you.
We're
We're
going
going
to
to
join
test
you
you.
on yeah, sure.
Well, thank you so much. This is amazing. I know we have so many questions, and before we get into Q&A, if an agent is interested in contacting you and find out more how they can bring this to the market and how this works in detail, how can they reach out to you? What is the best way to reach you?
I would say the best way to reach me is by email, because it's easy to remember, which is deanotto@maui.net. So easy email. But yeah, we're available to catch up with them. We're happy to do Zoom calls with offices. We've been doing a lot of that, and talking to luxury divisions of different offices and trying to give them some ideas on how to go out there and create some new inventory. So pretty exciting.
And
KW agents have priority though, right? KW
we're only talking to KW, maybe one other, but I think we're 100% focused on Keller Williams Luxury. Our goal has been this year to establish a relationship with you guys, because it's the key to this business for us. It allows us to have this business. If we have boots on the ground, we have really great agents all over the country. And any agent in a second home community who's interested in this can call us up and we'll be all over it, I promise you. We can provide toolkits, we can provide everything you need to make you look good in front of your clients and try to create some unique inventory. And people will love the fact that you're being creative. Even if they don't want to do it, no one has said, that's not a good idea, or why are you even wasting my time? Everyone's like, I love this idea. It may not be for me, but I love what you're doing. And the fact that you're being creative in a market that's struggling with lack of inventory.
Right. And this is not a membership. It's not a community.
Correct.
Right?
Correct. That's a good point. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, what we do is we don't, it's not a community, right? There's no subscription or fees or anything like that. What we do is if we can help you close a deal, we will expect to be compensated, and we'll be compensated in addition to what you're already getting, right? So we're not taking any of your commission away because you're going to help us make the sale, right? You'll be the licensed agent in that state. We'll be partnering with you, but ultimately your commission doesn't change as a listing agent. We will negotiate with the owner to add a fee on for the specific event that we do a co-ownership deal. So if there's no co-ownership deal, there's no compensation for us. And there's no compensation from you as an agent until we close a deal for you, right? So we're not trying to get in your back pocket. We're trying to help you make deals. And if we can, we'll get the owner to pay for our portion of it. But it's a pretty good deal in that sense. And then as a buyer's agent, if you have a buyer who buys a $2 million 1/4 interest in a property that's $8 million, you'll be paid on the $2 million that your client brings to the table. So the total of 8 million, we have to keep that buyer's agent commission in there, because there could be 4 different agents that bring us clients, and they'll be paid based on the contribution of their client to the total price, right? So everyone's getting paid no one's getting dinged on a commission. We're in addition to, and we provide all the support and all the tools for you guys to go out there and not only create the inventory, but to close these deals as well.
Fantastic.
Now, one more, you can, I'll provide my cell number. You can text me or call me anytime to reach it, which is 503-957-3836. But the obvious one is you can go to our website, which is kohanahomes.com. And when you get to the page, a form will come up. And if you fill that form up, it goes to both of our email addresses, and we'll be in touch in like 10 minutes.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. So as far as LLCs are concerned, and every state has different regulations and everything like that, how do you help an agent navigate that? And also, like how And the second question is for mortgages. So does the LLC take on a mortgage? Like how, that's not a cash deal. How does that work?
Good. Yeah, the financing part is a good question. It's complicated to have multiple parties in an LLC and have financing. It is complicated. Really, the banks only want one loan per property, and that's really how it works. So we do these deals with pretty much cash only, right? So if you're looking for an $8 million house, you ought to have 2 million cash, right? So we're just looking for them to spend their cash portion, not take on the debt. And if you do need financing, a lot of people are refinancing their existing homes or refinancing other assets to use as security to raise the money to purchase in here. But there's really no loan that we would want to do. We're trying to stay away from loan and be cash only. And if you need to finance, you borrow using other assets as security. But ultimately, the beauty of this thing is it's going to be no debt on the property. No, when there's debt, it becomes a challenge for the other partners and how that potentially, you have to sign an accommodation to be an LLC with a loan on it. So we try to stay away from that. There are other ways to financing. We also love the ideas of finding sellers who own properties, who don't have debt, who are willing to offer seller financing. Because if you think about it, we have a guy that's doing that right now, right? He's building a property. He's going to sell the share, the co-ownership interest as one quarter interest, and he's going to finance them. So he's actually taking a construction, a build, his original investment, selling the property, but not paying his taxes for 8 years, because that's when ultimately he's financing them through 8 years. So he's riding out this 10-year build and sale of these co-ownership interests, and really his capital gains taxes will due when that money comes in on the 8 years that he financed. So it's a great way to mitigate taxes in the sense of spreading out your tax consequence over time. People are very interested in that concept as well, because all investors, if they can defer taxes, they will, and earn an income, and you can get a good return on the interest rate. So seller financing is very popular, or financing with security from another asset.
It makes sense. So if you're representing a buyer and let's see, how long does it take for an LLC to be formed? Like, what is that? What does a typical timeline look like?
The LLC is actually pretty simple, and it doesn't deviate very much from state to state. I mean, LLCs are pretty much everyone across the country uses LLCs. Our attorney is in Honolulu, but has the ability to work with other attorneys to make the adjustment for that state. Right? It's not a major adjustment, but it does require some adjustment. Our attorney can handle that. All the boilerplate's done for that part. So the agents don't have to worry about LLCs and how that works. I think we'll help you through it. We already have the documents, the legal document that would be customized maybe for the state, but we can show people this is an operating agreement that you'll be living with. Here's the membership use agreement, and here's the membership partnership agreement. So we have those agreements already in place. So you kind of understand how it works. And then we'll have our attorney maybe tweak it slightly to make it state compliant. But the fundamentals of how it operates doesn't change.
Okay.
It shouldn't take a couple of weeks to actually create the LLC and get that.
Yeah, it's a simple,
Got it.
And we don't close any of the deals, any of the fractions until we have them all together, right? So if you're an individual agent trying to sell to an individual buyer, we have 2 or 3, we're trying to get 4. Those 2 or 3 co-owners would be in a reservation agreement or some sort of non-binding agreement. So that if someone came in, wanted to buy the whole property, we would be able to still have you sell it, and then they back out. So they're still cancelable until we get them all together, at which time we form the LLC, at which time we make the offer to buy the property.
Great, thank you. And how does a property qualify? Because to be a Cohana home, you want to have a certain standard, right? So how does a property qualify to be a Cohana home?
That's a good question. Yeah, we want it to be luxury. We want it to be, this is why we kind of wanted to be in this space with you all in this luxury division, because I think that, it takes some amount of work to sell 4 people, $1 million property. We like the idea of being in the luxury space where the effort is going to be rewarded, and that we like 3 million to 20 million. You know what I mean? That's kind of the spaces that we're working on a 25 million right now in Oahu. I just took a 12 million a couple of days ago, where the owner wants to sell 3 shares and keep 1. And we've got a couple 7.5 millions, and those are good numbers for us because it divides out into pretty good increments, and people can still make money. If you're selling $2 million co-ownership interest, you can still make money on that.
And I will add, every market's a little bit different. So like, for example, our listing in Palm Springs is 1.5 million. And that area of Palm Springs is amazing for this idea. And that's what properties generally run. So we're not going to, just, turn that down theoretically as a co-op. Then it gets more into finishes, quality of the property. Does it have the amenities? Does it have a pool? Does it have storage? Those sorts of things are really important as well.
And then you'll assemble the local teams such as the gardeners, the cleaners, et cetera.
In fact, I was just in Palm Springs and I went to a local breakfast and literally trying to meet every single one of those people. And I'm pretty sure I got everybody now. So that sort of legwork we're super happy to do.
Yes, and you have very high standards. I know the both of you, extremely high.
Yeah, no, we want to do it right. We want to make it worth it, and we love the high end because that's really, I think, the super high end is sitting a little bit right now, and so we're going into properties that have been sitting on the market for 6 months and go, hey, how about that $25 million listing? We think we can get 5 buyers before you can find a $25 million buyer.
Gosh, as agents, can you imagine approaching maybe a listing that's been canceled or expired?
Right.
And that's $20-30 million, and you come up with them with this unique solution. You're going to stand out.
You're going to stand out, exactly right. Yeah. And we just lost out on a property in London which sold before we could get into it, and we're also working on a 10-home new homes still subdivision, I guess, community in Bali. So we can do this anywhere in the world as long as we have Keller Williams agents there, and that's really what we love, that idea. I'd go to England anytime. But I think that we can do it. We can do it anywhere, really. There's really no limitation on where, as long as it's a second home community where people are only using them 2-3 months a year.
Thank you so much. I know we're at time, and I just want to thank everybody. Please help me thank Dean and Noah. You're such an example of Keller Williams culture. You're finding a gap, you're finding a challenge, you're solving it, and you're sharing it with everyone. So thank you so much. Let's build this together with you.
Thank you, Caroline. Really appreciate it. We're excited about it. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.